Hey, this is Polly. I'm not doing really very well at all. Had a horrible experience, 2 horrible experiences Thursday. They actually just went from bad to worse. It's weird, I'm looking at this. I don't even look like me. I don't even recognize myself. But anyway, Thursday, I had an appointment with my psychologist, and I couldn't get rid of that accent. So I tried not to talk very much, but he heard it, and he asked me about it, and I couldn't explain it to his liking, and he got upset with me and thought I was playing games, and I wasn't. And I showed him the video I'd made, and the crazy video, that rant that I went on. I showed him that to try and make him understand about how I became not like myself, and still he didn't quite understand, and he seemed to be disappointed in me. He acted disappointed in me, which was devastating, of course. Not only that, but he acted angry and told me to quit playing games, something to that effect. Said something about playing games. I was very upset. It's the only person I really had to talk to, and he didn't believe me. He hasn't seen me in almost a year, but he has no idea how badly my life has gone in that year. He has no clue, none. Anyway, I ended up going back to the hospital because I was pretty sure that those weird symptoms I had were somehow related to the Seroquel, and I needed to be monitored on it, but that wasn't going to happen because the ER was going to make sure that didn't happen. And so I ended up being very, very, very abused by the ER, by various people in the ER who decided I had tics. I've had those ever since I started taking a medication called Haldol, and I don't take it now. I haven't taken in years, but I sometimes still have the tics. Well, I had tics really badly then, and they were different than they'd ever been, but I couldn't help it. I just couldn't help it. There was a lot I couldn't help, and I couldn't talk. And they refused. At first, they let me write things down, so I had a way to communicate with them, but then later they took that away, and they wouldn't let me communicate, and I had no way to communicate with them. And then they started yelling at me, really yelling at me, and scolding me and reprimanding me, and they made it into this game. One right after the other came in and took their turn. And then they go back out, well, I tried, but I failed too. And I was just covering my ears and screaming by that point, And I screamed a long time trying to get them doing this, please, bring me something to write with. And they wouldn't bring anything. They wouldn't let me write. None of them would let me write. Not even the guy from CMH. None of them would let me communicate what was happening so that I could tell him. I wasn't refusing a urine test. I just didn't have to go yet, and I needed to drink more water. But they wouldn't let me communicate at all. And all I could do was scream and bang on the frame of the bed, and then when they'd look up, make that sign that I just needed something to write with, and they wouldn't do it. And they ended up chaining me down, 4-point restraints. One of the guys was being really mean. He was pushing down on my kneecap, which was making excruciating. So I was just fighting, trying to keep them from completely controlling me, and he just pushed down on my kneecap. It was so painful. But then there was a woman at the head of the bed who was holding down my head like that, and she was being nicer. saying, "Don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. Calm down. Don't panic. We're not going to hurt you." And then they shot me full of Haldol, and eventually I got very sleepy and sedated, and I fell asleep, and I woke up freezing and alone, and I was never able to tell them what I needed to tell them. They wouldn't send me upstairs, so I'm still not monitored on the Seroquel, which I was prescribed a huge dose. I went from 12 milligrams to 200 milligrams. Anyway, I'm not doing well. I'm better than yesterday. Yesterday, I couldn't even stand. I was shaking and jittering, and I couldn't stand to be alive, and I had nobody to talk to. And even my housemate wouldn't talk to me because she had to watch Young and the Restless. And I did talk to another friend, but I feel bad talking to her about stuff like that, and I worry about her because she herself is suicidal. In fact, she told me yesterday that she is going to commit suicide. She just doesn't know when. And I don't want to do that. I don't want her to do that. Things are really bad here, and people are very unkind here. And I'm broken. I'm very broken. I feel so broken, and I hurt so badly. I reach out, and I'm just traumatized. I reach out again, and I'm traumatized again. And it's no wonder I'm agoraphobe. It's too hard to reach out just to have people do that to you. I don't have a voice. I mean, literally now I have laryngitis from yelling, from screaming, but I don't have a voice, ever. I can't defend myself, ever. People must understand me always, and people are cruel, and I don't know how I'm going to make it through. I don't know how I want